Welcome guys again to President Meelo 2 now on YouTube. My name is President and I welcome you to Voice Weekday. In today's tutorial we'll be focusing on a spooky voice and also in Undertaker's voice. So this voice is specifically for Undertaker and also for spooky. They are very similar, they are very close. I want to show people what I did to this voice. Let's just have a listen to it, and I hope you're gonna learn a lot through this tutorial. Let's give it a shot.
At WrestleMania 36, you will rest in peace.
So just listening to that half sample of that. So I want to also turn another part on. Let's just turn this one on. This track on, and let's just restart it. I can listen to it with the other tab.
At WrestleMania 36, you will rest in peace.
So by doing so, it adds more depth into it and also more of the reverb. And I've used two reverb on the first track, which is Undertaker, which is 9.7. The first one, which is this one. The setting in this part, I've used reverb and flanger and limiter. Now on reverb, I just keep it as basic as it is. I didn't tweak much, just put it as basic as it is by the default. Then when it comes to flanger, I've decided to use a different pattern. Just decided to use a classic dip. So using a classic dip, it did a bit of tweaks, but what I did, I just decided to turn it to 50% because it changes the voice. Then also use limiter to make sure that this voice is still balanced all the way out. Another thing which I took into consideration is the fruity multi-band compressor. So I wanted to listen to the mid and the low, then in the high band. Now I've tweaked a bit of the gain in the low band and a bit of it in the mid, not realizing it will be too much, but at the same time it's better this way. I'm realizing how Undertaker sounds like, as well as how spooky voices will be like. So I'll really encourage people to tweak it as much further if they want the voices to be more spooky, and also if they want to be more maybe shaking, they should add more plugins or tweak the very same plugins which are already added. This will add more into it to be very, let me just say, it very sexy when it sound. Then I left the space. These two are not necessary, can necessarily not add them, but I've decided to add them. On this one I just added a fruity compressor, then just decided to use the complete mix. I've tested it, it sounds better with the complete mix. So there's already settings with a bit of depth. I'll just, the gain is at 9.0 and then the ratio is 30, then negative 16 on the threshold, then the attack is 18, then 44.0 on the release. So what happens, it makes it sound better. Reason why I say so, even if I'm mixing, I'm using the very same fruity compressor at some samples. So knowing how it works, and here it spooky, it balances and brings the voice to more alive. Then I also use Maximus just in case. After I've used the fruity multi-band compressor, I've realized that it sounds fine, but if you were to listen to it, some of the part like low, mid and high, they're no longer balanced. So I decided to increase a bit of the low, then also take the mid down because it sounds too much, then also the hi-hat just a bit, then just let it as it is. Other settings did not tweak them. So when you listen to it, it sounds just fine, but using those words like undertake, it got this bit of depth. So how did I create those depth? Now on the second part, when you go to hardcore, this is the hardcore part. I use the plugin hardcore. Most of the time I don't use it, but I kind of like it. Like, this plugin works. Each and every plugin I first to do, it's really worth working. So what you have to do is make sure you just change this to empty, those two and the last one. Then after the delay, the delay, set it to delay this side. Then you have to only focus on the mix. Okay, only the mix. Just tune it a bit to the side, the more you tune it to this side, the more it will leave too many voices getting into between some of the if the more you turn it up, it will leave a delay voices which will disturb the main voices because they'll delay too much in between the main voices when each and every word is pronounced. Then on this side, turn them all down and focus on the combo. Just increase a bit of about 30% or so of the combo, just not much. So you can see from that window there, it's just parameter 2.20, just it. Then same as this one, you can also see it's 3.20, just to 22, it will be fine. I'll really advise what is more important is to explore some other options, but if you need a shortcut to it, use the very same plugins but tweak it even more. And also, before you do a lot of things, make sure you have tried different presets, which I sometimes share to the channel because they do help a lot to save a lot of work for people. Just drag, drop, and then everything is done. Now let's get back to it. This voice, this side, it's the pure voice of the very same. So sorry. So this one is the pure voice.
You will rest. Peace.
So another thing which I have to emphasize is that each and every time when you try to duplicate a certain voice, you want to do a certain voice, even if it's an artist or auto tune of a certain person, for an example Drake, you have to try to rap like or to sound like Drake so that your voice to be similar to it. Even if you add the auto tune, it will be simple. But at the same time, if you do music full time, I really recommend you just stick to your own voice, stick to your own style. It's way better. It just gives the best or the unique part out of you rather than copying other people. But it's good to learn from them. It's good to also use them as a reference because you always want to grow. But the whole point of this tutorial is to show you how to do the Undertaker, the voice, using the plugins in FL Studio, which plugins come with the first package you can buy online on the website of FL Studio. Now I want to play the whole clip and listen to it. I'd like to give you a challenge. You can just download the whole clip, the whole project, then try to do it and try to explore it. If you do movies, if you do dumbling and more, or even if you do sound effect for websites, this is the challenge you should take, and also try to explore other options as much as you can. So let's just listen to it.
At WrestleMania 36, you will rest. Peace. AJ, who's old now? What's my wife's name? What's wrong, son? Come here. Come here. What's up?
So this is one thing I want to do. I want to check out the plugins and listen to it. There's something I want to emphasize and also show you. If you switch off just the both part and just play it pure. So the reason why I say this, it will show if you sound like, or if you try to sound like, it brings more to it, to the voice that you desire. But as an artist, if you do you, you'll be you, unique you. Let's give it a shot. Let's listen to it.
At WrestleMania 36, you will rest.
This is how it sounds. It's not dry. So to the mic that I'm using, it doesn't make it dry. I can make it dry, but the way it is, it sounds better. Let's just focus on 10. It's on it, on the pod. Then just turn everything off and just leave few. I want to test it out and see how different things will apply to it. Just leave compressor, then and also reverb. Let's just play it with the two only and close that one.
At WrestleMania 36, you will rest.
So by just clicking the reverb, now what will happen, just if you add like the dimension or the just the space, or even if you increase the I will say if you increase the reverb of the room around the voice, then you'll really hear how it sounds like and stuff. So sometimes, like, okay, let's focus on the size. I want to show you. Let's just make it full and just give it a shot and listen to it.
At WrestleMania 36.
So now it becomes more spooky, more with this with more space, like a hall. So it becomes very unique. If you also want to try it in a different way, you can use the very same method in Audacity. In Audacity is way simple, but I will say do it in Audacity if it's for a certain purpose, but I do recommend FL Studio most of the time. It's just great. It's a great software. It got more plugins and it's just the best. It needs you to know a lot. Now let's just take it down on the size and listen to it if it's like that.
You will rest.
So it doesn't have that space which we really need. We need more of that space. Let's just put it like that and also add more weight and stuff.
AJ, who's old now?
So that's the difference. The good thing about FL Studio is that it gives you more options. It's more of pure, and then you turn it into your own customization the way you want it. But if you're using Audacity, what I could say, just record the voice, duplicate it. After duplicate it, mute the one underneath. After muting the one underneath, add reverb on the one on the top. After reverse it. After reversing it, make sure you change a bit of pitch into it, but make sure before you add pitch, select them both and add pitch to it. Then what you can also do, add delay on the top one. Then after adding delay or echo, then just normalize both of them and listen to them. That should sound good. If you want to explore options where you duplicate the voices, the first voice that you're gonna work with, try to change it as much as possible, but do not forget that it should not be loud than the original one which is underneath. But before you can play them both, make sure you select both of them and make sure you change pitch. By changing pitch, it gives you more options, more variety of the sound that you desire or want. So beside the Undertaker's voice or the spooky voice, voices are unique in their own part, in their own way. So even the way you record them, you should record them specially. So therefore, when you tweak them or you add plugins of or more depth to it, or any kind of sound that you desire, it will be more of what you wanted for a certain project. Because some projects are for movies, some projects are for just effects, for website chat sound, SFX. There's more. So even transitions have sound, and there's always something new, there's always a unique sound. So the very basic sound that we have is transition stuff. There's also new ones which you can create, but before you have to know what type of sound do you want. It's more like when you're editing, you just need to know what type of color grading you need, but obviously you have to do color correction before. So guys, with that all said, I'll challenge you, you can download the project in the description below, and when you get started you have to do noise removal. If you don't know what you have to do when you're doing noise removal, I have a tutorial. I'll also leave a link in the description below. Subscribe and share. If you have any questions, please just feel free to comment and also to reach out. What's really important is that I'll try to make sure that I'll also deliver more of the tutorials, more for voices, more of guide. But what's more important is that learn it, create it, and share it with the world. Please like and subscribe and share. See you guys in another tutorial. President Meelo signing out. Let me just listen to it for one last time. Sounds cool.
At WrestleMania 36, you will rest in peace.
Wow, WrestleMania 36.
AJ, who's old now? What's my wife's name? What's wrong, son? Come here. Come here. What's wrong?
Well, let me know how it works for your project or the creativity you have in the description below. Just feel free to comment. I'm a huge fan of WWE. Well, it was an interesting match. See you guys next time. Like, share, subscribe.